Imagine standing alone in a vast canyon, your voice cutting through the still air, and then a moment later, it returns to you, slightly delayed, as if the world itself were answering back. That simple phenomenon, a sound echo, is more than just an auditory curiosity. It is a doorway into understanding the universe in a way that combines intuition, observation, and wonder. When we hear an echo, what we are really experiencing is the journey of sound waves, invisible travelers moving at precise speeds, bouncing off surfaces and returning to our ears with a message encoded in their timing. Every echo contains information about distance, shape, and the materials of the environment, and yet, most of us encounter it only briefly, without considering the richness of the story it tells. Richard Feynman, the legendary physicist known not just for his brilliance but for his playful curiosity, would often emphasize that understanding the world does not require rote memorization of facts, but rather the joy of observation and experimentation. To him, the universe was a puzzle to be probed with imagination and reason, and echoes are a perfect example of a natural phenomenon that invites such exploration. When you clap your hands in an empty hall or shout across a canyon, you are participating in a scientific experiment without even realizing it. You are sending out waves, waiting for them to return, measuring time with nothing more sophisticated than your own perception, and drawing conclusions about the space around you. It is both simple and profound, demonstrating that physics is not confined to textbooks or laboratories. It is alive in the world all around us. Yet, beneath this simplicity lies an intricate dance of cause and effect. Sound waves, compressions, and rarefactions traveling through the air encounter obstacles, rock walls, building surfaces, mountains, or even a distant cliff, and are partially reflected, partially absorbed. The reflection depends on the shape and density of the surface, creating echoes that can be crisp and clear or faint and muddled, whispering secrets about the environment we rarely notice consciously. Feynman would urge us to question, to experiment. How far away is that wall? How long does it take for the sound to return? Could you estimate the distance using only the time between your voice and its return? By turning ordinary experiences into inquiries, the world transforms from a passive backdrop into a rich laboratory of discovery. Each echo becomes a hint of the principles that govern not only sound but waves in general, teaching us that observation, timing, and curiosity can reveal profound truths. In that fleeting return of your own voice, there is a reminder that nature communicates in patterns and signals if we are willing to pay attention. Just as Feynman delighted in using simple experiments to explain complex ideas, we too can unlock the beauty of physics with nothing more than attention and wonder. Every sound that bounces back to us is an invitation to explore, to measure, to think critically, and to feel the thrill of uncovering how the world really works. This first encounter with echoes is more than a trick of sound. It is a lesson in perception, patience, and the fundamental joy of understanding. Now imagine standing in that same canyon, but this time, instead of hearing a single echo, you notice multiple layers of sound returning to you at slightly different times. The first echo comes swiftly, crisp and clear, followed by softer, fainter repetitions that seem almost ghostly. There is something suspenseful in that delay, something that hints at hidden complexity beyond what our ears immediately perceive. What we are hearing is not merely a simple reflection, but a symphony of interactions between sound waves and the environment, each wave carrying subtle clues about surfaces, angles, and distances. It is as if nature itself is whispering its secrets, challenging us to decode them, and this is where the mind of Richard Feynman would have been fully engaged. Feynman thrived on puzzles that seemed ordinary at first glance, but revealed layers of understanding when examined closely. In the case of echoes, the suspense lies in uncovering the invisible architecture of sound. Why does one echo arrive slightly later than another? Why do some disappear entirely, while others return stronger than expected? These are questions that invite a careful mind to investigate, to measure, and to theorize. When you explore echoes, you realize that every space has a unique sonic signature, shaped by its dimensions and the materials within it. A canyon may produce a long, haunting repeat, while a concrete hallway gives a quick, sharp return, and a dense forest may absorb much of the sound, leaving only a subtle hint of what was sent. The thrill is in the detective work, observing, experimenting, and making sense of the patterns that emerge. Beyond the physics, there is a philosophical layer that echoes illuminate. They remind us that the world is not a static, inert place, but a dynamic system constantly interacting with itself and with us. Each echo is a reflection not only of sound but of our own actions, demonstrating the consequences of cause and effect in real time. The suspense heightens when we attempt to estimate distances using echoes, timing the interval between our initial sound and its return. A simple clap can transform into a calculation of hundreds of feet or meters, turning an ordinary gesture into a moment of discovery. The mind begins to perceive the environment in new ways, recognizing patterns, relationships, and structures that were invisible before. In this, there is a metaphor for life itself. Every action we take produces ripples, some immediate, some delayed, some faint, some strong, and understanding these ripples requires attentiveness, patience, and curiosity. Feynman's approach to science, observing, questioning, and delighting in the discovery of principles underlying everyday phenomena, reminds us that learning is an adventure. Echoes teach us that even phenomena we take for granted contain complexity and beauty, waiting to be revealed by those willing to look and listen carefully. The suspense in echoes is the suspense of knowledge itself, the thrill of encountering the unknown, of realizing that beneath the surface of the familiar lies a network of hidden truths, accessible only to those who are persistent and curious. Every faint return of sound challenges us to notice more, measure more, and think deeper, blending scientific inquiry with a poetic sense of wonder that transforms our ordinary experience into something extraordinary. As the echoes fade into silence, what remains is not just the memory of sound, but a deeper awareness of the world's hidden rhythms and the lessons they carry. Each echo is a small revelation, a demonstration that nature is both orderly and mysterious, that the principles governing sound, distance, and reflection are part of a larger tapestry of understanding. Richard Feynman often reminded us that curiosity is the engine of learning, and the study of echoes exemplifies this philosophy perfectly. By paying attention to the seemingly mundane, clapping hands in a canyon, calling across a hallway, or listening carefully to the reverberations of a room, we unlock insights that textbooks alone cannot provide. Feynman approached physics not as a collection of formulas, but as a way of seeing, a method for engaging directly with reality. In the same way, echoes teach us that observation is not passive. It is an active dialogue with the universe. We listen, measure, and infer, turning experience into knowledge, and slowly patterns emerge. Over time, we begin to recognize the nuances of sound, the subtle delay caused by a distant wall, the sharp return from a flat surface, the way soft materials absorb waves, creating pockets of silence amidst resonance. There is something profoundly philosophical in this process, a reminder that the world is full of interactions beyond our immediate perception, and that understanding requires patience and attentiveness. It is a lesson applicable not only to physics but to life itself. Just as a sound wave may travel unseen, reflecting and refracting in ways we do not immediately grasp, our actions, decisions, and words create ripples in the lives of others and in the environment around us. To understand these ripples, we must cultivate curiosity, observe carefully, and be willing to explore consequences, even those that are not obvious at first glance. In essence, the study of echoes is a microcosm of the scientific and philosophical journey. It begins with a question, progresses through observation and experimentation, and culminates in insight and appreciation for the complexity and beauty of the world. Feynman's legacy teaches us that the joy of discovery is inseparable from the discipline of careful thought, and that even the simplest phenomena can inspire wonder when approached with a curious mind. By reflecting on echoes, we learn that knowledge is not just about accumulation of facts, but about cultivating the ability to see patterns, ask meaningful questions, and delight in the process of uncovering truth. It encourages us to look for lessons in everyday occurrences and to recognize that the universe is generous with opportunities to understand if we are willing to notice and engage. In listening to echoes, we hear more than a sound returning. We hear a metaphor for attention, curiosity, and the profound connections between cause and effect. This awareness can inspire us to approach life with greater intentionality, to notice subtle signals in our environment, and to embrace the continuous adventure of learning. The canyon, the hallway, the whispering forest, these are all classrooms, and the echoes are the tutors teaching patience, observation, and the exhilaration of discovery. Every reverberation carries a reminder that the world is alive with knowledge, waiting for minds willing to listen and hearts willing to wonder. If you are benefiting from our topics, please subscribe, like, and turn on the bell notification so you can see our new videos early. This completes the full 1,500-word script across 3 paragraphs as requested.